Let's talk about anger and childhood sexual abuse. Anger is a very normal response and a normal reaction, especially when your body is put in danger, especially when you feel threatened, especially when you're being betrayed, especially when you are being abused. However, it's very common to not actually be able to feel that anger or be able to express the anger because you are in such a threatening and dangerous environment. Therefore, if you did, you would be punished, you would be shut down, you would be potentially displaced from your family, you would feel disconnected, you would feel alone, you would feel abandoned, you would feel lost, confused, you would feel like your life was now on the line. So repressing anger is a survival mechanism for so many survivors of childhood sexual abuse. As we go into our adulthood and we start to realize how much anger is actually suppressed and buried, and that we can't really get close to it, we can't feel it, we start to realize through relationships and through interactions that the anger's there, maybe through healing work and through going through these group journeys like in Womb Room, where you start to hear other people's stories and you resonate and you feel that anger at some level within yourself, but you just can't access it deeply enough. That's when we start to realize that there's anger there. Now you're entitled. You are more than entitled to feel angry, and actually feeling angry is very important for the healing process. You can imagine you've been sexually abused and betrayed as a child. You never felt safe enough to express anger. You held it all in and buried it so deeply within yourself. You didn't feel like your anger would ever be honored, would ever be validated. And then you go through life holding this, and it feels really, really heavy because it's like nobody knows you. Nobody can get to know you, not deeply. Nobody can connect with you, not deeply, because this anger sits in between you and your heart. It's held so tightly. It's like a big block. Going through the process of facing the anger, healing, releasing it, roaring, raging, punching some pillows, whatever it is you need to do, actually unlocks a lot within you. It allows you to heal at a deeper level, because the anger is the armor that guards us, keeps us very protected. Going through the healing journey will allow you to start to release the anger and start to get in contact with deeper levels of your heart. These deeper levels are maybe sadness, maybe grief, but also love, joy, connection, self-worth. A lot of the time that I've worked with people who've been through childhood sexual abuse, and there is a really clear connection between buried anger, the abuse that they suffered, and their depth of self-worth. And what I'm trying to explain is the more anger that's held and repressed, the lower self-worth of that person. Because self-worth comes from being able to feel and access our hearts and our emotional bodies so that we can actually feel how special we really are. And if we can't get to that level because the armor is there, the anger is there, and we don't really know what that is. We're not familiar with it. We don't know why we're angry. Maybe you don't even know why you're angry. Maybe you didn't know that you had been through childhood sexual abuse until very recently, and you haven't known what this block has been. You just felt like maybe you were just a bit different from everyone else. When you realize that and you start to go to that place, you unblock a lot of the energy that you have used to contain and bury and hold the anger. And I talk more about anger in the inner child module, healing your inner child, and also on how to release and heal when you're holding this buried rage in sacred somatics. So please visit those classes and go deeper into it. If you feel like you are holding repressed anger, it is getting in the way of your relationships, it is getting in the way of your flow, your ability to love yourself, your ability to love other people, your ability to be met at a deep level. So the process of healing the anger and validating it is very, very important if we want to get full resolution for the abuse. And sometimes when there has been deep programming and deep conditioning that has made you reject anger. Maybe you've seen your parents get violent, and maybe you've seen them hurt each other. Maybe you've been taught by your parents that when we're angry, we don't speak, we shut down. This is what we do. Nobody ever gets angry, but nobody ever expresses love or joy. Everything is just very monotone, very muted, very flat, because nobody's expressing emotion, nobody's authentic. Maybe you've learned that unwinding these conditions will also be part of your healing journey. Unwinding all of the conditions that have led you to deny your own sacred rage. And when you're allowing yourself to actually be angry, and to be angry at the right things and the right people, not yourself, which is often what happens when you go through these experiences as a young child. You internalize the anger and blame yourself, and that anger turns to shame. And that shame is this invisible dark blanket that's just kind of follows you around. And that shame keeps you separate from the world, from other people. And it stops you from really being who you are and shining in the world the way you want, feeling how you want. Because you're wearing something and you haven't quite figured out how this got there or what it's all about. Repressed anger creates so much internalized shame that we then start to doubt ourselves whether we can even release the anger. People who've held this in their body for a long time will often say, I don't even know if I'm strong enough to release the anger or to feel my pain. I don't really believe in my ability to heal. And when it comes to feeling my emotional pain and healing at that place, I'm not really even sure I want to, because I don't believe I can without being destroyed. I don't believe I can without ruining my own life. This is what shame sounds like. Having no self-worth, having no conviction in yourself, even when it comes to doing the healing work. Again, it's a natural human part of the journey. But if you found yourself in this place, then this will be really important for you to acknowledge that you are strong enough to heal and face your emotional pain. Will you be destroyed? In your current identity, in your current vibrational reality, you will be. Because healing destroys you. It's the death of deaths. Every single time you deepen your roots and grounding and you heal and you open your heart to yourself and you forgive and you love and you learn how to love yourself deeper, you will kill off the old identity. That old version of you will die. And ego death is very confronting. We don't want it. The ego doesn't want to see itself die. That's why it's the ego. It's self-fulfilling. It wants to keep itself alive. Even if it's in pain, it would rather hold on to the pain a lot of the time than drop into the uncertainty and the mystery. And that's ego. That's identity. It becomes solid. So we must allow ourselves to honor and respect the ego, if that's where it is, because sometimes it's there to protect us, to keep us sane. Sometimes we're not ready for ego death. We're not ready to face these really, really deep wounds at this moment in time. That doesn't mean you're never going to be ready. It means maybe right now you don't have the stability, the grounding, the resources, or the tools. And hopefully you who are listening to this are not in that place because you've done loads of work on yourself. You've learned through these courses, you are learning the tools for how to heal yourself. So you're not completely alone. You're not like a leaf in the wind being blown around and then being terrified of being taken apart because you have no roots and you'll never come back together. You're not in that position if you're listening to this and if you're doing healing work on yourself. So the point here is that anger is valid and your anger is valid and you can be as rageful as you want. Everything that you feel inside, whether you are, really, really raging and you need to shout and hiss and whatever it is you need to do, right? It's valid because of what you've been through. When you start to validate yourself, what the judgments that you hold against expressing anger and feeling anger will suddenly feel not so useful. Because the only reason why you're not healing the anger is because you're judging it. You're busy judging it on what it's going to do to you, what it's going to do to others, what kind of person it's going to reflect, what kind of person it's going to make you reflect as. Oh, if I express my anger, people will think I'm a really bad person. If I express my anger, I could kill someone. That's come up quite a few times with clients I've worked with. You're not going to kill anyone by healing and facing and expressing in safe places your anger. You may well kill someone if you never do that, and you've got this buried rage that follows you for a lifetime, and you just, one day snap and it's over a small trigger. It's over something that isn't even relevant to your childhood sexual abuse. Or it builds up and you put yourself in all these risky, dangerous situations because you've got no self-worth, and therefore you are betrayed or you are abused again as an adult, and therefore then you feel this intense rage. This is what happens to people who are not healing the abuse that happened in childhood. The feelings and emotions and the rage is all there, and it just comes out in adult life until we heal it. So validate yourself, allow yourself to feel. When you feel these feelings, it's your inner child, and you'll know what to do because you've been through the inner child healing work. And if you haven't yet, go to the masterclass on healing your inner child and really get comfortable with meeting and facing your inner child, with visualizing them. When you visualize them, with feeling into their bodies, as if they're there, as if they're right in front of you, because that's you. You need to validate this child's rage, this child's anger. And doing the inner child healing work, facing your child, looking them in the eyes and seeing how angry they are or how shut down their anger is, that's going to be part of your journey of healing from childhood sexual abuse. Of course, anger is a top layer of armor, and then we go deeper into the grief, the betrayal, the sense of rejection, the sense of failure, the sense of being unworthy, unwanted, the sense of being impure, the sense of being different from everyone else. This is all there beneath the rage. Sometimes people drop into that place deeper and then struggle with processing anger because they've already gone down into the rage. So they've gone down into the grief. And then they're like, well, I'm not really angry. I've never really been angry. That happens sometimes. Less often. The thing is with suppressed anger is it's suppressed, it's buried, it's distorted. It doesn't necessarily look like anger, but you can see it. You can see it in someone's face. You can see it in the stiffness. You can see it in the way someone holds their body, the way you can hear it in their tone of voice. You can see it in their eyes. So when you look in the mirror, you can see yourself, and you will know. You live with your nervous system every day. You will know how anger has become distorted over the years and has now led to other types of feelings, sensations, and enactments. So going on this healing journey is definitely not for the faint-hearted. You're going to have to do a lot of confronting and deep processing of the pain, but you will come out so strong and so certain within yourself of who you are. That kind of feeling is priceless. When you have it and you've gone through the journey and you look back, you will really know your own power. At the beginning, the only thing that your mind is telling you is that sounds like a terrible idea. I don't want to do that. That doesn't make me feel like I'm going to be strong. That makes me feel like I'm going to be very weak and very disturbed, and it's going to disrupt my life, and I'm going to not be able to go to work tomorrow. And why would I want to process my anger? Why would I want to validate my own rage? Because your rage will find you in many, many different ways. And your rage will keep you silent, and it will keep you stuck, and it will keep you stunted until you free yourself and you use your energy system and your life force and your creative life force to channel into something else that isn't just protecting your own emotions. It takes a lot of energy to do that, especially over the course of many, many years, which is why there is so many levels that emerge from this journey of fatigue, of inertia, of feeling blocked and stuck. All of this comes because we're not flowing through our emotions. We're avoiding our own hearts. Healing and releasing anger is the first step towards getting deeper into our hearts, deeper into our bodies, and reclaiming the power that was stolen at a very young age.